You have been walking through life with your heart half awake, your spirit burdened with questions that no one around you seems willing to answer. And all the while, heaven has been trying to tear back the veil that has been wrapped around your eyes since childhood. From the moment you first learned to trust the voices around you, you are already being led away from your divine truth, taught to obey, to please, to accept the world as it was presented to you, and never question the wounds that kept repeating generation after generation. But heaven says now, this was never your fault. You were surrounded by souls who were themselves deceived, shaped by systems built on illusion, by promises that were never fulfilled, and by people who masked their own pain with authority. And now, after all this time, the truth has clawed its way to the surface, refusing to remain buried beneath years of confusion, silence, and spiritual exhaustion. Archangel Michael is standing before you right now, his sword not drawn in anger, but in defense of the version of you that still believes you are small, helpless, or cursed. You are none of these. You were never meant to suffer in the way you have suffered. Heaven wants you to understand that you have been deliberately misled, not just by individuals who fail to love you, but by generational conditioning, by false prophets, by spiritual oppressors who used fear to control your voice. The people who told you to hide your emotions were afraid of their own. The ones who claimed to be your protectors were often the same ones who sowed seeds of guilt in your heart. You were trained to mistake anxiety for caution, to call silence strength, and to confuse survival for peace. But God did not place you on this earth merely to endure or to blend into systems that profit off your brokenness. There's a divine code etched inside your spirit, and even though others try to silence it, that frequency is still active. It's pulsing right now in your chest as you read these words. Someone in your family, possibly even someone you once revered, knew something sacred about your soul and chose to bury it, fearing what would happen if you ever truly woke up. But now, the awakening is here. The timelines have shifted. The dreams you've been having are not accidents. The strange synchronicities, the sudden clarity, the unexplainable moments of déjà vu. These are all signals that heaven is rearranging reality for you to remember what was stolen. God is revealing that someone close to you, perhaps a mentor, a partner, or a family member, was sent not to help you rise, but to keep you from becoming. This person may have spoken beautiful words, may have even appeared to love you deeply, but behind that was a deep-rooted fear of your potential. You carry a divine inheritance that would expose their spiritual cowardice, and so they did everything to distract you from your mission. But Michael says their time of influence is over. Their shadow is losing its grip. You are being placed under divine surveillance, watched over by light forces who are clearing pathways that were once blocked by invisible chains. You have been told for years that you are too emotional, too sensitive, too much. But the truth is, your sensitivity is a divine instrument tuned to frequencies others can't hear. You were born to sense danger before it arrives, to see deception when it wears a friendly face, to know the spiritual weather before the storm begins. And this is why the lies had to be woven so tightly around you. But they are unraveling now. Heaven has issued a command to strip the false coverings, to awaken every dormant gift, to remind you that even the darkest detours in your life were secretly leading you back to this moment of truth. This is not a coincidence. You're not reading this by chance. Your angels have been pushing this message into your path because the deception has gone far enough, and the next chapter of your life cannot be written under the influence of this lie. Someone you trusted may soon reveal themselves in a way that shocks you. Their mask is slipping. Their energy has already begun to crack. Pay attention not to their words, but to how you feel when you leave their presence, drained, uncertain, anxious. This is not your imagination. You have been spiritually correct for years, but constantly talked out of it by people who feared your awakening. But not anymore. God is moving people out of your life right now, not to punish you, but to clear the spiritual fog that has kept you from hearing your true instructions. You will soon be given an assignment. Yes, an actual divine assignment, meant only for your hands, your heart, your voice. And this mission cannot be delayed by the lies of the past any longer. Archangel Michael is telling me to tell you this. Within the next 7 days, you will receive a sign so unmistakable, so divine, that even your doubts will fall silent. Do not ignore it. Do not downplay it. Your soul is waking up. The truth is arriving. And this, right now, is your first confirmation. There are truths so ancient, so deeply embedded in your soul, that no amount of lies, manipulation, or generational silence could ever erase them. And now, they are rising like fire in your bones. Heaven is not just revealing information to you. Heaven is awakening your divine memory. There are things you have known since you were a child, things that came to you in dreams, in moments of quiet, in unspoken instincts that warned you when someone's words and energy did not match. But you were taught to doubt those instincts, to ignore your body's cries, to trust people who smiled with poison behind their teeth. These were not small lies. These were soul-altering lies, lies that told you that suffering was noble, that silence was holy, that obedience to broken people was equal to faith. But no more. The divine realm is breaking the chains now, not gently, but forcefully. This is the season of unveiling, and you, beloved, are being called out of hiding. Archangel Michael stands in the fire of heaven's altar declaring that what was hidden from you will be exposed, not later, but now. The reason your life has felt so heavy lately, the reason your sleep has been filled with unrest, the reason certain names or places suddenly trigger something deep inside you, it's all connected to the awakening of your divine memory. There is someone in your life, or who was once close to you, who knows you are chosen. They may have acted like they didn't care, but behind closed doors, they watched you. They studied you. They even feared what you could become if you ever stopped believing the lies they placed in your path. These lies were not just verbal, they were spiritual. Emotional sabotage, gaslighting, manipulation, guilt, they wore the masks of love, loyalty, and duty, but they were never from God. The truth is, the enemy does not go after weak souls. The enemy targets the chosen, the sensitive, the prophetic, the healers, the seers, the ones who were born to disrupt generational darkness. And that is exactly who you are. Your bloodline has waited for someone like you to rise. Someone who would not be bought, broken, or bribed into silence. But in order to rise fully, you must confront what you were taught to ignore. The people who said, just pray about it, when you're breaking inside. The ones who minimized your pain because acknowledging it would mean facing their own. God is saying this clearly now. Their comfort is no longer your responsibility. Your soul's liberation is the priority of heaven. There's a specific lie you were told, possibly by someone you once idolized, that you were too difficult to love, that you were a burden, that you were selfish for wanting space, peace, or clarity. That lie has been acting like a virus in your system, attracting more people who reflect that false belief. But heaven is purging that out now. A divine reversal is underway. The pain you've been in was not punishment, it was preparation. You were being peeled, refined, stripped not because you were being broken, but because the lie had become too embedded in your identity, and God refused to let you live a life that was beneath your destiny. The lie said you were weak, but heaven says you are the anchor that generations have been waiting for. The lie said you needed them, but God says they needed your light to survive in their darkness. But now that you see it, you must stop shrinking to protect their comfort. You are not here to be small. You are here to activate. And very soon, something strange will happen. A conversation, a confession, a sudden flash of insight. You may overhear something not meant for your ears, or a forgotten memory may suddenly resurface with unbearable clarity. That moment is not random. It is part of the divine exposure. It will confirm who is sent to help you and who is sent to delay you. And once you know, you must move. Do not stall. Do not over-explain. Archangel Michael says you are being assigned new angels, ones equipped to protect a destiny like yours, because your mission is about to accelerate and the old patterns cannot come with you. You were never the black sheep, never the failure, never the problem. You were simply the one who saw what others were afraid to admit. That's what made you dangerous. That's why you were lied to. And that's why heaven is finally giving you this message. Because it's time to remember who you were before the lie was ever spoken. There is something sacred about the moment when a soul, after years of being buried under other people's projections, finally rises and reclaims its true voice. That is what is happening to you now. You are rising from beneath the rubble of other people's expectations, beneath the words they spoke over you in anger, in jealousy, in fear. You were never meant to carry the weight of their wounds. And yet, for years, you bore it like it was yours. You made yourself small to make others feel whole. You silenced your own intuition to keep the peace, and you walked on eggshells while pretending everything was fine, even when you were screaming inside. But heaven was watching. Jesus himself has been following every silent prayer. Every night you cried alone. Every time you questioned your own reality, because someone you trusted convinced you that your pain was imaginary. That was not love. That was control dressed in the costume of care. And now, heaven is sending help. You may have noticed it already. Repeating numbers like 1111, sudden waves of emotion that make no sense, a heaviness in your spirit when you're around certain people, or a clarity you can't explain that cuts through confusion like a blade of light. These are not random. These are divine alerts from the realm of truth. Archangel Michael has been dispatched directly into your atmosphere, not to whisper peace, but to declare war on every lie that has held you hostage. The lie that said you were unworthy of good love. The lie that said you were asking for too much. The lie that said you had to earn your right to rest, to dream, to exist boldly. These lies were planted early, through culture, family, trauma, and even spiritual teachings that were corrupted to control you instead of free you. But your spirit never forgot. Somewhere inside, you always knew that something wasn't right, that the version of reality you were given was distorted. And now, the veil is lifting. The people who lied to you may have done so because they were lied to themselves, but that does not excuse the impact. God is not just healing you. He is also revealing what systems, agreements, and beliefs need to be shattered so that generations after you will not carry the same chains. That's why your journey has felt so lonely, because you were chosen to do what others couldn't. You were the one who had to feel it all, break it all, and then rebuild on truth. And make no mistake, you are rebuilding. The crumbling you feel is not the end. It's the foundation clearing for the beginning. The lie said you were behind in life, but heaven says you are right on time for divine inheritance. You will soon be shown just how much was stolen from you. Opportunities, peace, relationships, even health. And you will also be shown how heaven intends to repay what the enemy took. But in order for you to step into this new dimension, you must make a sacred vow that you will no longer apologize for your insight, your vision, your boundaries, or your calling. The lie said you had to stay loyal to people who dishonored your soul. God says your only loyalty now is to your divine alignment. When you step into this alignment, things will begin shifting rapidly. You may lose friendships. You may lose family, but you will never lose God and what God is about to place in your hands. New purpose, new clarity, new anointing will make up for every season you spent wandering through the wilderness of confusion. This isn't just spiritual fluff. This is a divine dispatch. That sensation you've had in your chest, that tightness in your gut, that strange ringing in your ears, it's the frequency of heaven tuning your soul back to truth. You're being recalled. Your purpose has a sound. Your presence has a weight. And your future has already been seen by God, who says, you are still on time. The next few days will hold signs you cannot ignore. A letter may arrive. A dream may bring you a name or a face. A stranger may say something that hits you like lightning. These are not coincidences. They are answers. Be alert. Heaven is speaking in stereo now. And Jesus is saying clearly, your story will no longer be written by the hands of deception. From this moment on, your truth becomes your sword, your shield, and your compass. Walk boldly now. Everything that once made you question yourself will soon be the very thing that makes others ask, how did they survive all that and still shine? Now comes the moment that heaven has waited for since the day you were born. The moment where truth will eclipse deception, where the curtain that's hidden your divine identity is finally pulled back to reveal who you truly are beneath all the programming, the betrayal, and the wounds you were never meant to carry. Archangel Michael stands at the gates of your destiny with his sword raised, not to attack flesh and blood, but to cut through the lies that have encased your spirit like invisible chains. And these lies didn't start with you. They go back generations. What you've carried wasn't all yours. Some of it was passed to you through bloodlines that were cursed by patterns of silence, secrets, and spiritual suppression. You were born into a legacy that didn't yet know what it meant to be truly free. But God chose you to end the cycle. God anointed you as the interruption. You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're not too sensitive, as they told you. You are spiritually awake in a world that has been trained to stay asleep. And because of that, you've seen through people others still idolize. You've felt the manipulation behind the smiles. You've noticed how the energy shifts when you speak truth in rooms that thrive on illusions. And though you doubted yourself at times, heaven never did. Every single lie that wrapped itself around you was identified by God before you ever took your first breath. He saw the lies coming before you saw the people who would deliver them. He saw the betrayal before it broke your heart. He saw the manipulation before it fogged your judgment. And through all of it, he kept whispering, hold on, there's more for you. You see, there are things about you that darkness never wanted revealed. Your ability to sense when someone is lying. Your prophetic dreams, your healing presence, your voice that can break generational strongholds just by speaking what others are too afraid to admit. These were always threats to the kingdom of lies, and so the enemy used people, yes, even relatives, even lovers, even religious leaders, to silence you. And yet, you're still here, and your survival is not just personal, it's prophetic. Because what you're about to step into isn't just a new season. It is a divine reversal. What was stolen will be returned. What was silenced will be amplified. What was hidden will be brought to the light. You have cried tears that no one saw, but every single one was counted by the angels. You have sat in rooms and felt invisible, not realizing that you were surrounded by beings of light who were recording your pain for a testimony that will soon shake others free. And now it is time. Heaven is saying, no more delay, no more confusion, no more tolerating what drains your soul. There is a shift in your timeline beginning now. Over the next several days, you may feel lightheaded, emotional, or experience vivid dreams. This is your spirit preparing for the upgrade that's been written in the scroll of your destiny since the beginning of time. A person will be revealed to you soon. Someone whose presence in your life was meant to serve as a lesson, but who continued to use love as a mask for control. You will be tempted to doubt what you see, but do not. The truth is being shown to you now with divine clarity, because God is clearing the path for a miracle that can only arrive in the absence of deception. Your next chapter cannot be written with pens dipped in poison. That is why some connections must end, even if it hurts. And trust this, what God removes, He replaces. What He reveals, He heals. What He asks you to release, He intends to redeem. Archangel Michael says that a letter is coming, not just physical, but spiritual. A message that will break the final illusion. And when you receive it, you will know exactly what to do. Because deep down, you've always known. You've always known you were made for more. You've always felt that the story they told you about yourself was too small. And now, the true story is beginning. the one where you rise not as the victim, but as the vessel of a truth so powerful it will shake the very systems that tried to contain you. This is your time. The heavens have aligned. Your name is being spoken in runes of divine authority. Your soul contract is being activated. And the truth, your truth, is no longer something you must search for. It is rising up from within you like a roar that cannot be silenced. You are not broken. You are chosen. You're not late. You're right on time. And no matter what lies were once used to cage your spirit, the gates have now been opened. The angels are on assignment, and God is declaring over you now. The deception ends here. The breakthrough begins now.